Welcome to Elections 101 in 5, a show brought to you by IGA Africa and supported by the UNDP. My name is Samson Itodo. What are the stages of appeal against a judgment delivered by an election petition tribunal or a court? We hit the streets to ask Nigerians what they know about these stages and listen to what they said.
Normally in Nigeria we have like 3 steps in the court case. The tribunal, the appeal, then the Supreme Court.
Okay, I think the court will have no other option than to quash the case. That is what I think. That's my opinion.
Litigants, or anyone who is a party to an election petition, who is dissatisfied with the ruling or the judgment delivered by a tribunal, an election tribunal to be specific, or courts of first instance, can appeal such judgment as a matter of constitutional right. In other words, the right of appeal exists only when it is prescribed in the Constitution. So if you're not satisfied with the outcome, with the judgment issued by a court, you have a right to appeal that judgment. Once a tribunal or court delivers a judgment on an election petition, a petitioner, that's the person who institutes, the person who files the case challenging an election, or the respondent, and that's the person who the petition is made against, can appeal against such decision in a higher court to obtain justice. That is the beauty of democracy. It is important to note that the exercise of the right of appeal must be in strict compliance with provisions of the law as well as the rules of election appeals. So this is important because to obtain justice in an election petition, the court has, as well as the Constitution, has provided you with the right of appeal. So now let's look at the stages of appeal on judgments in an election petition. So appeals arising from the decision of a court of appeal in respect of a presidential election shall be heard by the Supreme Court. In other words, if a candidate or a party is dissatisfied with the ruling of a court of appeal, which is the tribunal for presidential election, they have a right to appeal to the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land, and so it is called the court of last resort for matters relating to presidential elections. It takes approximately 8 months to determine a presidential election petition. Now, for governorship election petition, when the court at the tribunal, at the governorship election tribunal issues a judgment and the parties are dissatisfied, they can appeal to the court of appeal. And then from the Court of Appeal, if they are dissatisfied also with the decision of the Court of Appeal, they can appeal to the Supreme Court. So for governorship elections, the final court is the Supreme Court. But there are 2 stages. The first stage is from the tribunal, it goes to the Court of Appeal, and from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. For governorship election petitions, it takes 10 months, an approximate 10 months to resolve a governorship election petition. And lastly, appeals on judgments issued by a National Assembly and State Assembly election tribunal, those appeals shall be filed at the Court of Appeal. So the Court of Appeal is the final court for all appeals related to petitions on National Assembly and State Assembly elections. And for this set of cases, it takes approximately 8 months to resolve a dispute on a National Assembly and State Assembly elections. And that's Elections 101 in 5. Now you know the different stages of appeals in cases related to election petitions. For presidential, the final court is the Supreme Court. For governorship, the final court is the Supreme Court. And for State Assembly and National Assembly elections petitions, the final court is the Court of Appeal. Bye for now.